Welcome to Let's Face the Facts. I'm David Almeida, and I'm your host for this rewatch podcast for the classic sitcom The Facts of Life. I'm an actor in Orlando, Florida, and every week I bring you some of the greatest talent in the Central Florida arts community. Join us as we synopsize, analyze, criticize, and ultimately idolize the show, episode by episode. Hey guys, welcome back. It's another week, another Wednesday, another show. Thank you for downloading and for pressing play. This week, my guest is Matthew Arder. You know it's going to be a fun time whenever Matthew is here, and I don't think you will be disappointed with the hilarity that is about to ensue. We have so many diesel engine moments, and in case you're joining the show late or you haven't heard the earlier ones, there was a time when we decided every time there was a lesbianic reference for Joe, we would just mimic the sound of a diesel engine horn and just go. So we do that a lot in this episode, and we do that a lot when Matthew's around anyway. So I hope you enjoy that as much as I did. What else is going on this week? Oh, I need to give a shout out to a new Tutti Frutti, Daryl P. Daryl P. Welcome to the family. But you know what? Daryl was already a member of the family. That's Daryl Pickett. Daryl's been on the show, I think, twice now. Daryl just recently relocated to Albuquerque. So he is no longer part of the Central Florida community. We're sad to lose him, but the good thing is we can always have him back on the show via Zoom. And I thank him now that he's kind of moved on to new places. He's being a sweetie by supporting the show. If you want to be like Daryl, you can go to patreon.com/facethefactspod, and you can sponsor the show for as little as $1 a month. Or if you sponsor at the $3 a month level, you get an additional monthly podcast that is just me and Matthew. It's called TV Talkaholics, and it's pretty damn fun and funny. Also, since it is the holiday season, since people might be in a giving mood or whatever, I've been meaning to do this and just never got around to it, but I see other podcasters doing it, so what the heck. I've put up my Cash App, my Venmo, my PayPal, my Zelle information. I've put it all out there so that if you're not keen on making a monthly commitment to the show, but you just want to throw a few bucks at me to help defray costs of producing the show, you know any gifts are always welcome. And if you don't want to sponsor the show at all in any way financially, not to worry, I'm still going to be here, still doing the show. So let's get to this week's show. Matthew Arder and I watched season 6, episode 5, called Cruisin. The original air date was October 31st of 1984. I think we're ready to jump on in. Let's face the facts with Matthew Arder. Well, here we are again. Hi, Matthew.
David.
Matthew.
David.
Matthew.
It is one of the top 5 Facts of Life episodes, and we get to talk about it.
Yes, I knew it was a favorite of yours. I knew you really, really love it.
Am I wrong? Is it iconic, or is it just iconic to me?
It is iconic for all the things that it is not. In that it is so completely different. It is like no other episode in the entire 9-year run. And for that, it just is so interesting and gives us ideas of what the show could have also been or could have also evolved to. So I think it is. It's a landmark. Definitely, it's a landmark episode.
I feel like even if people aren't fans like we are of the show, I feel like this is an episode that they remember.
I would think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
But we will talk about it. I want to talk about everything. And the beauty is, there's not really much of a plot, so we don't have to be beholden to David's OCD reenacting of every single comma and semicolon.
I don't have my 3 pages of notes this time. I have my page and a half.
Okay.
But I also typed in a smaller font than I normally do. So, because while there may not be much of a plot, there are plenty of holes in the plot that they've got.
Oh, fuck yes.
So-
Those we will be talking about. So, we're talking, of course, about season 6, episode 5, Cruisin'. And the original air date was October 31st of 84. Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. But we have this show written by, I'm going to pause here. Matthew keeps moving his shoulders up and down. Matthew is so excited and happy about this.
Well, and also because every time we say the title, I feel like I hear cruising on a Sunday afternoon. That's what I hear in my head whenever we say the title of the show.
And who sang that?
Cruising on a Sunday afternoon. Why don't you ask Alexa? I'm sure she'll tell you.
No.
Hey, Alexa, play the song Cruisin'.
Cruisin' by Smokey Robinson from Apple Music.
Smokey Robinson. Okay, I'm sure I've heard it. I'm sure I've heard the Smokey Robinson version. I just could not produce it off the top of my head. But that's me and pop music. So this episode was written by one of my least favorite writers.
I would venture to call him your arch nemesis.
And honestly, that's a gross exaggeration. It was written by Paul Haggis. Paul has written, I think, 1 or possibly 2 episodes previous to this, but as we've discussed at length, Paul Haggis wrote and produced $1 Million Baby, the Clint Eastwood Hilary Swank movie in 2004, for which he was nominated for Best Screenplay. That year, do you know whom he lost to?
Whom?
Sideways.
What?
Sideways, the Paul Giamatti.
That's me in movies between 1984 and 2020. I haven't seen a movie in a theater since Chicago in 1998.
The movie Chicago was 2002.
Okay, there it was.
Yeah, the Broadway revival opened in 98. Yes. And then in 2005, Paul wrote and produced and directed a little movie called Crash, which is my big... This is my review of it.
Oh.
It's just... Ugh.
Yeah.
I've said it before. We've talked at length. It's a movie about racism. And it is as subtle as a chainsaw. It is as subtle as a Louisville slugger at the side of your head.
Which I find hard to believe because, I mean, even his early work on Facts of Life is so solid.
Is it? I mean...
We never have problems with his script work here.
No.
So it's amazing that you had such a problem with it later.
Or any scriptwriter. In fact,
Yeah.
I mean, these are all the future Pulitzer winners as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, and the extra salt in the wound of Crash not being a good movie, in my opinion, and it sweeping the Oscars, was that it was also the year Brokeback Mountain was up, and Brokeback Mountain lost Best Picture. The only redeeming thing was that it did get Best Director for Ang Lee.
And that movie.
No.
Oh my God, I was so bored.
No.
I was so bored.
Yeah, I don't know how they did the butt sex with no lube.
That's when I got up and walked out. And I screamed to the theater. I said, "What is wrong with you people? He just ate beans and now he's going to bottom?" And I walked out. I did the same thing when I went to see Titanic.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, Jack Dawson smokes a cigarette with a filter. In 1912. How dare
does he?
you? How
I
dare
totally
you?
missed that. Wow.
They didn't have filtered cigarettes when the Titanic went down. Get out of here, James Cameron. I will say I much preferred the direct-to-DVD release, Bareback Mountain, which is a little more my speed. And believe me, there were no beans being eaten on that set.
Yeah. So this is Paul Haggis. So he's written for the show before. Landmark number one of the many, many landmark different weird out of the box things that are going to be happening this week. Director John Boab, his first of many. He will go on to do more episodes than anybody else who directs The Facts of Life, including Asad Kilada. This is now the beginning of the passing of the torch and the handing off. When we go to this, it's either Asad Kilada or the occasional nobody. Now it's always John Boab and the occasional nobody along the way. Yeah. Previous to this, he had directed Soap, Benson, I'm a Big Girl Now, with the wonderful Diana Kanuva. Bosom Buddies, Too Close for Comfort, It's a Living, Give Me a Break, Double Trouble. And after The Facts of Life, he would go on to direct Full House, Empty Nest, Family Matters, Cosby Show, Ellen, Grace Under Fire. So he hasn't done much since 2008, according to IMDb. But at that point, doing the math, he was 75 years old. So Jesus. I would presume he has since retired. That's why we don't see that much of him. But he is still alive, 87 years old.
Jesus.
So, yeah, maybe we'll try to get him on the show. Maybe we'll see if he'll contact Diana Eden, see if she can do that. Yeah.
Close personal friend, Diana Eden.
Our close. Yeah. So, are we ready to get to Matthew Arter's 1 to 2 sentence TV guide elevator pitch synopsis of this entire episode? Cruisin'.
Okay. God damn it. Okay. All right. This week on The Facts of Life, the girls spend the night cruising. There it is. That's all you gotta say.
That's
all
you're
you
right.
gotta say, everybody. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah, no, true. It's like, yeah, even TV Guide wouldn't even say trolling for the D or something like that.
No, I might say like Tootie, like you could also say, I should start doing that for mine, like finding the B plot and making that the story. So for this one, I'll say Tootie tries to win a radio contest. That's use that one. Cut everything between there out.
Oh no, we're gonna have that whole process happen. That I want to keep that. It's like the Slices of Life episode that I did with Rob Lott. It could be Mrs. Garrett attends a diet club meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Blair wears satin pajamas and high-heeled slippers. Good idea. Stick with it. That's a bit. Make it a bit.
I'm going to make it a bit.
Yes. So the synopsis, they're really, what is amazing, this is like a Seinfeld episode where, yeah, there's little sub things going on, but there is not a plot as far as an overarching, we are at point A, we have to arrive at point B, or we want something at point B, and we're dealing with the obstacles and complications in between it. This is just a slice of life, girls out in a car driving around for the entire episode. It's fascinating.
And does the writing give you the mindset of what Cruisin' was? It was boring. It was stupid. It ended when you all decided it ended. Did you ever go cruising, David?
No, I'm under the age of 70. I didn't think that was a thing. Did you cruise up in Fort Wayne, Indiana?
Oh, we cruised, but if we were the only ones cruising.
Okay, gotcha.
Everybody else was just going about their lives while Emma and I, my best friend since I'm born, sat in my car, my Beretta.
Chevy Beretta.
And we would drive, and I loved that fucking car. If I could still have that car, I would. Oh, that Beretta was so goddamn cool. It had doorknobs on the side. You pulled them anyway. But we would cruise, but so it was like I would pick her up. We would have points that we would need to go hit throughout the town. And then every once in a while on Saturday nights, people would meet in this parking lot with old cars and open their engines. or open their lids, or what do you call that on a car?
The hood?
The hood. They would open their hoods. Or it'd be like, remember back in the 90s when like souping up your truck was kind of a thing? Like,
oh,
you had
yeah.
so it was like cars like that with their hoods open in a parking lot. Like, but there was no like, nobody was cruising in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yeah, it sounds to me like what you were calling cruising was just going for a joyride, just out driving and looking around.
Yeah.
Because my thing is like, apparently it was a thing where if multiple people were doing it, you drive past a car, you just circle the block and suddenly be like, hey, how you doing? What you going? What school you go to? But
I think in college towns, I think it might be a thing.
Oh, okay.
Or was a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, before Tinder. Yeah, I think so. And my thing is that where I come from, being from the Northeast, and particularly being, in a fairly urban suburb of Boston, we were taught stranger danger and things like I to this day am not a person who typically talks to strangers at stop signs and stoplights. I don't take a peek. I don't look to the side. I don't take a peek and see and say, okay, anybody hot in the car next to me, I might wink or make a blowjob gesture to, just in case.
Oh, you don't? You don't?
Do you?
In a car situation? Yeah, I look over and see who's just pulled up next to me at the stoplight. It might be Channing Tatum. You don't know.
Carrot Top. Or,
and if it's Carrot Top, I'm like, it's Carrot Top.
I'll tell you what I think of when I think of cruising. I think of the 1980 William Friedkin movie starring Al Pacino as a cop who infiltrates the gay leather scene in New York City to try and catch a serial killer who is killing gay men. Do you remember this movie, Matthew? Did you see this movie?
I sure don't.
Do you remember a movie called Interior Leather Bar?
I sure don't.
That's a movie James Franco made talking about the idea that there was allegedly 40 minutes of footage that had to be cut out of Cruisin' because Friedkin, the writer-director, did show some pretty graphic stuff in the leather bars going on. Like it wasn't like porn where you could see dicks in mouths or butts, but you could see guys in the corner and another guy kneeling in front of them. You see a dude in a sling and a guy thrusting, it was tasteful filth, really.
It was Skinamax. Remember Skinamax?
Yes. But the deal is, it was
Cinemax After Dark.
After Dark. Silk stockings.
Would you ever watch those movies though?
Oh, that was the only thing I had to whack it to when I was a
Exactly.
kid. Are you kidding me?
You're just watching and they were just awful. Like you just like, oh my, I can't. Anyway.
Yeah, there was like one of them.
The validity of porn.
Yeah, there was one show called Eros America. I think it was on. It might have been Showtime or the Movie Channel or Skinamax, but at one point it was like a magazine show. So one of the stories was about male models for Playgirl, whatever. And throughout the course of it, there were like 2 shots. There were 2 shots where you saw a naked dude full frontal. All the rest was tasteful, was butts, it was above the waist. Yeah. And I wore out that VHS tape watching the 2, because that's all I had was these like, guy just laying there and you see the flash of the camera taking a picture. I was like, ah!
All right.
That's all I needed when I was 14 or whatever. But you realize cruising is a play on words because a cop, goes cruising on the beat. They cruise their beat. And then cruising is also a common term for, in our lifetime, cruising more means like I'm going to the balcony at the Parliament House and see what's happening. Like,
yeah,
it's like what Grindr is now, but in real person, in IRL, as the kids say.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
So cruising in a heterosexual framework, in a car framework, to me is weird because whenever an older person, a parent or an aunt or an uncle would say, "Oh, I remember back we used to go cruising down Main Street in Brockton," and I'm like, "You were looking for butt sex with a leather daddy?" What? Oh, okay. Okay, Aunt Midge, I just learned more about you than I wanted to know. Anywho, that's yeah. I'm curious. Any listeners out there, comment on the show, comment on the website, and let me know. Was cruising a thing where you were? Because it wasn't so much in Brockton, Massachusetts in the 80s. I'll just say it there.
All right.
But what's fascinating about this show, though, Matthew, is technologically speaking, the show rarely went outside of the studio.
True.
And by my observation, and debate this if you disagree, it looks to me like they are legitimately driving around. Nancy McKeon is truly driving the car. And it seems to me like they probably have a crew attached to the front of the car.
Yeah, obviously.
And filming from the front. There are cars also that are attached to the backs of trucks, so the actors don't really drive. They're just pretending to drive because the front vehicle is guiding it.
That is what I think is happening.
You think so?
Yeah.
My only thing is that the camera is so shaky. The idea that maybe because I guess if they're on the front truck and they're bobbing around and maybe
it's on the hood, but Nancy McKeon isn't driving. She's being towed by.
You think that's what's going on there?
Yeah, absolutely. And also they're clearly driving around the Universal Studios backlot.
I wondered. I don't know what that looks like, but it did occur to me.
Every backlot, it's got a neighborhood, it's got a gas station, it's got the Hill Valley, it's got all of that. Anyway,
I wondered if there were landmarks here that people would recognize. I was like, so with the few landmarks we do see, I'm like, is this LA? They're trying to shoot LA as Peekskill, and it was very very weird.
Yeah.
And whenever we had the exterior shots of just the car or cars, director John Boab, smartly, you just see like silhouettes and headlights. Like you see nothing around it that might reveal that we're not in upstate New York.
Right. It's in the dark. Yeah.
Truly.
But a lot of stock footage as well. Like they go by a movie theater that's showing irreconcilable differences.
And what's the other one? And God bless it, it has Rocky Horror Friday and Saturday at midnight. That's back in the day when people were doing the Rocky Horror Show. So so we're driving around. This is out of the studio. You can see the light kit reflected in the hood of the car sometimes. So it's clearly somewhat fabricated, but we have no laugh track.
Nope.
No laugh track, and a location shoot. Clearly there are lights inside the car to illuminate. That's one of those Hollywood tropes. Always gets me is let's get into this car, hope they don't see us, but then there's full lighting on the inside to make sure you can see them. It's supposedly Blair's father's car. Yeah. And it's a Cadillac, I believe. Am I right?
Sure. My car is red. That's all I can tell you. My dad was one of those people that would watch a show and be like, "Oh, that's 73 Thunderbird." And I was like, I don't fucking know how you know that, and I don't care. Yeah. But here I can look at a Broadway show poster and go be like, "Oh, that's from the revival in 87. That's not the original." I told somebody on Facebook, they posted a photo of their Hello Dolly album and the back of it, and I said, "You have the second pressing, because the first pressing has pictures anyway." And I was like, "Shut up, Matthew." But we are going to go through the episode though, aren't we?
We're still touching on the generalities. That one of the what am I trying to say? The conceits of the show is that Blair has been given the opportunity to borrow her dad's car. So her dad in New York City, it has a license plate of Warner 3. So you figure it's probably his third car because he's a rich old white motherfucker. But it's a brown Cadillac. And I'm sorry. In the 80s, a brown Cadillac, that was such a dad car. That was not, it wasn't like, we've got this sweet set of wheels. Let's go cruising. We're going to get attention. It's not like a Thunderbird or a Corvette or a DeLorean. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. Like my grandparents had a Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
And it was like this giant purple fucking magenta.
Yeah.
Limo that my grandma used to ride in the back in. I don't want anybody to think I'm with him. Anyway.
My dad had a series of Lincoln Continental Mark 7s, Mark 6s, Mark 7s, which is like, I was like, Dad, you are a little silver-haired old man in New Smyrna Beach driving a Lincoln Mark 7. You are a bigger stereotype than I am.
I don't know I can't picture what that means.
It just big ass old person car.
Okay, got
it. Like a Cadillac in 1984.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, well, at least it's brown. At least it's an eye-catching color of brown. Why wouldn't it have been a sportier, unless they needed the room to shoot it, I guess, but why couldn't, I mean, they could have used any car. Am I right?
Yes. I don't, maybe they didn't want the car to upstage them. I mean, it's like a beige brown, so it kind of blends into the background. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's not difficult to light. I mean, it's beige. It's the background. It's the background.
Maybe a lighting designer would be able to.
I'm making shit up. I don't know. They could have used a fucking Flintstone mobile.
But here's the better part of it. So the conceit is Blair has her dad's car because her Porsche is in the shop.
Yeah.
Blair has a Porsche, but I got this sweet Cadillac I'm going to cruise around in. And we get back to this old thing. Does Blair have a car? Does Blair not have a car? Sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. And that's been a constant gnawing dilemma I've been facing throughout seasons 5 and 6, Matthew.
Okay. It has become, especially with John Boab, it has become this season, because this is the first episode filmed for the season. Oh, no. I lied. This is the 4th episode filmed. But this is the first episode where Tootie has her braces off.
Correct.
So we've watched 3 episodes now of season 6, or however many, with her braces on. And now this one, she shows up without her braces on.
Yeah. And they will come back on and then come off again.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, this is filmed later, and this is shown earlier than some other episodes due to the Nancy McKeon contract talks and the shuffling of the deck, as it were.
Yeah. But why is Joe driving?
Well, she states it very clearly, Matthew.
Why?
The girls are like, Natalie is horny, Natalie. Natalie's like, boys, want to get the D.
I wrote down horny Natalie is the star of this episode.
Oh, fuck yes. Absolutely. But we've got Tootie and Blair also. Blair's kind of in this thing of, not wanting to be seen cruising. Joe explicitly says when they're like, hey, Joe, aren't you excited? Might meet a guy or something. And Joe says, don't look at me. I'm just here to drive.
Oh. Get the diesel horn ready, because this might as well have been called Cruisin', Joe's coming out episode. That should have been my, God damn it, that should have been my synopsis.
Oh dear, too late. I'm not going back and editing it. But the why is Joe driving? Because it's like, well, she certainly ain't going to be out, trolling for D.
No, but later on in the episode, for what happens, this one little story arc would have made much more sense if Blair were driving.
How so?
When Joe turns off the car without putting it in park and then doesn't realize it's in park or not in park to start the car, would have made so much more sense if Blair were driving. And she could have the whole time been like, worried about hurting her dad's car. That could have been a whole plot point. Because like if your dad let you borrow the car, if you brought it back with a scratch on it,
Oh yeah.
I don't care how rich you are.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That could have been. And then
So-
Blair trying to hide, because Blair's arc, for all intents and purposes, is I'm out cruising with my friends, but I don't want anyone to see that I'm out cruising with my friends.
Right.
And so she's like ducking down and looking like she's eating Joe's pussy and things like that. But
that is I have that note. I have that note.
I know. But the thing is, if she had also the task of I have to be driving, but I'm trying to cover my face, that could have been some fun physical stuff for Blair to be like, you know, trying to drive without your eyes over the steering wheel. It's like, you're gonna fucking crash, bitch.
Exactly.
But yes, Blair thinks it's beneath her. She says, and I'm quoting the episode now, cruising is seedy. Only hicks and street people do it. Joe? Nice little dig at Joe about it being, you know, a poor people's thing that you do. And that's when Joe says, don't look at me, I'm here to drive. Yeah. So, so Blair's plot is really just her trying to not be seen, her making, it angered me when they get to the drive-in and order their meals and then they have to squat down. I'm like, anything that impedes the enjoyment of food is offensive to me. So the fact that they're all laying down, Blair insisted that they're laying down while they're handing out the burgers. I'm like, bitch, you need to walk home. You need to simmer down now.
Well, and my whole thing with her not wanting to be seen, she sees somebody that she knows, and she's like, she's going to tell everybody. But that person was out cruising.
Yeah.
To see her. So it's not even a plot point.
And unless they see you twice, how do they know you're not going somewhere? It's like, what? How do you...
Because you're driving 15 miles an hour down Main Street.
Yeah. Asking guys to show them their dicks.
Yeah.
But so that's what Blair's thing is. Joe's plot line is, she's just driving and then she gets temporarily stupid when they stop and Joe thinks that the battery is dead and that they're stranded. So we have this little short bit of, oh my God, we're stranded. What are we going to do? And who will we eat first? No, they don't say that.
So the episode opens.
Yes.
With, for some reason on the radio, a karaoke version of Sugar Pie Honey Bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it's the
not the Four Tops
version. Yeah.
It's like I Can't Help Myself. Yes, is the actual title. Yes.
Were there radio stations that played karaoke versions of songs?
No, it was, there were lyrics, they were singing it. It just wasn't the original album version.
But it was the girls only singing.
No, I think they were singing along.
I felt like they were singing completely.
Huh.
I didn't hear another voice, a lead voice in there from the radio.
Well, if you did, and I do think it's there, but I can't 100% say that. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that none of the songs in this episode are the recordings by the original artists. So you're not hearing the Four Tops. Later, when you hear Hot Stuff, it is definitely not Donna Summer. And later, when we have Dancing Queen, it ain't the ABBA recording. Not an ABBA recording I ever heard.
I think that is Lisa Whelchel.
Do you?
Yes, it sounds like Lisa's singing voice.
Oh, now that I need to hear again. Yeah. But what that is, that's a royalties. Of course I do. Shut up. For pleasure, not verification. Jesus Christ. I think the music it's a music rights thing where...
Oh, completely.
It costs a certain amount of money to license a song, but it costs more money to license the original recording by the original artist. And oftentimes it's cheaper just to pay to license the song and throw a studio singer into a box with a karaoke track, and then you've got it in your show, and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So what next?
Blair sees her friend. Joe's admiring cars. Cheap joke that's just a cheap joke though for Blair or for Joe. Like, look at that body. What? Who? Where? 56 Corvette.
Aha!
See, even your Joe is better than mine. No, you even play Butch better than me, David. But my favorite is now the B plot line is presented to where Tootie is entering radio call-in contests.
She is obsessed.
Do you remember those though, David?
Oh God, yes. And it's call in and be my fifth caller. This is the phone number.
Yeah.
And when this song starts, be my seventh caller or whatever.
Yeah.
How many times I called in to 68 RKO in Boston trying to win the soundtrack to Grease and never could fucking get through. And that was a toll call from Brockton. God damn it.
And nobody questioned, like, how do we know it's the fifth caller? How do I know? How do I know if I'm the fifth caller or not? All he's doing is picking up going 95.1 magic. And you go, am I the fifth caller? No. Click.
Yeah, click. Yeah. And the 10th one, it's like, hey, you sound pretty. Get together later.
One of the best ones. And I was on the radio. I'll have you know.
Were you?
This exists somewhere. At the age of like 9, probably, the local Magic 95.1 in Fort Wayne, they would do Friday night Sing for Your Request. So the people calling in, you know how they're always like, hey, this is 95.1. And then you hear what is actually a recording of the phone call.
Yeah.
And them going, hey, this is Jim from Fort Wayne. And you're like, oh, God. And they would have you sing for your request. And I called one time and they go 95.1. And I go, hello, this is Cher. I'd like to sing for my request. And I shit you not.
Did they put you on?
I shit you not. The woman goes, oh shit, hang on. I got to record this one. And
what did you sing? Did they put it on?
Yeah, it was just her going, I guess everybody's hearing about the Sing for Your Request. Who's this? This is Cher. I'd like to sing for my request. And I sang, I Got You, Babe.
Oh. And you were 10.
Oh, like probably 9 or 10. Yeah, completely.
I was obsessed with Cher at that point. I didn't even do a Cher impression until many, many years later. That is so amazing.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like asking questions. Like sometimes it's just like, and it might still be like, I don't listen to regular radio, but like they'll say like, you know, just out of nowhere, it'll be like 95.1. I got a prize for the fifth caller. And then you find out it's like tickets to the zoo or something, which are actually already free.
It was, I remember one of them was, it was name the singer of the next song and we'll be and be my fifth caller, and name the singer of the next song and you'll win a free copy of the newest Van Halen album or something. And they play a song. And I remember one time my sister was like Tootie in this. She was obsessed with trying to win something on the radio.
My brother was too.
And then you'd hear, we're listening on the radio and you hear a pre-recorded phone call. It was Peter Frampton. Yep, that's right. You've won the new album. And my sister like stomped down the hallway and slammed her door and did not come out of her room. She was so goddamn mad.
Yeah.
And it's just because she wanted to win something. Tootie doesn't even care about winning something.
What is the prize, David?
Is it ticket? It's not.
It's tickets to the ABBA reunion tour.
Oh my God.
Of which there wasn't one in 1984.
I didn't research that.
So I don't know why they wouldn't say someone that the girls might actually be interested in.
Well, how many times have we mentioned Springsteen? How many times has Springsteen come up? And Natalie used to have a picture of Rick Springfield over her bed up over the cafeteria.
Or Jermaine Jackson.
Fuck yes. Or Jermaine's brother, you know, the other guy that had a singing career. What's his name?
No idea.
No, I can't think of it. I'll talk to Alexa.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Tito.
Tito, of course. Yep. Yeah, Tito Jackson. Would have been great.
Yep.
But yeah.
But yeah,
ABBA reunion, because 84, ABBA was not it. In the 80s, ABBA was off the radar. They were old hat.
They had already broken up and were gone. Like it'd been a while. But then she says
the nostalgia for the 70s hadn't happened yet. It was in the 90s when ABBA made this huge comeback, and thank God
we are to believe that Tootie is this educated about music that she could think she's winning this. You know what I mean? It's like she's like knows the answer right away to the question they asked. The answer is Linda Ronstadt, for Christ's sake. And I know from personal experience, every 14-year-old girl in 1984 was very interested in Linda Ronstadt's next album. Jesus Christ.
They just, if she would just hurry up and finish that Broadway run in Joe Papp's Pirates of Penzance and get back to that pop music career that I, as a tween, am so hungry for. Yeah.
But Natalie says, what do you care about winning tickets to ABBA? She goes, I love ABBA. And she says, name one of their songs. You can't name one ABBA song?
Wow.
Tootie couldn't name one?
Bad writing.
Like, she's supposed to be
bad.
I don't know. I thought maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
And the only thing I could even, and I am not willing to cut any slack to Mr. Haggis, but the deal is, maybe the purpose of that was for Tootie to say, okay, maybe it's not about the tickets and it's not about the ABBA. Okay. I'm lying to you, Natalie, my best friend. Because the real reason I want to win this contest is I want to hear them say my name on the radio. And that's just too revelatory. I cannot be that vulnerable with you, Natalie Green, and admit that truth to you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Paul Haggis.
Again, a funnier plot line would have been if she had spit that out right away. For the rest of the show, if she had been like, why do you even care? Because I want to hear my name on the radio.
Yeah. And then
act
it's like
that's a perfectly normal thing. I want to hear my name on the radio.
Yeah, totally. And then the funny other thing, another of its time, not just listening to the radio on the radio, not just the call-in contests, but if you're driving around, it was constantly, Joe, pull over. There's a phone booth. I have to call from a phone booth. Give me dimes. I need fucking dimes.
Which I have a question about the dimes coming up. I have a question about the dimes.
Ask it now. I want to hear.
Well, she says after Linda Ronstadt, she gets back in the car. She wasn't the fifth caller, and she says she took her only dime. She had to ask a bum for change.
Oh, that does sound familiar. Yeah.
And, but yet later on, I feel like when they're paying, I feel like I remember Natalie, they say, go through Tootie's stuff. And she goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dimes.
You're right.
It's edited out of the syndicated version.
Okay.
But the Roku version showed the full version, which is like what I love about it.
Yeah. I mean, if there is an inconsistency in this episode, Matthew, I'm sure that's the only one.
Yeah.
So we've covered pretty much Tootie's storyline, Joe and Blair. Natalie, let's talk about Natalie's storyline.
Perfect timing, David, because at this point in the episode, they get mooned.
And Natalie loves it.
Loves it.
She's like, look at those furry bungholes winking at us.
Look at that hot frat ass. I would not be mad if a car full of frat guys mooned me, would you? What's wrong with that? But the joke is, what's the joke, David?
I don't remember.
Did you watch this episode?
And yes.
It's
been a while.
I'm a little worried about your copious note-taking seems to be laxing.
Well, I deliberately didn't do that plot thing because of because I thought
I do.
I know the one time you do. It's so funny. I love it. So what's the joke?
The joke is they get mooned. Natalie is chagrined. And Tootie says, I think I know that guy.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's awesome. That's a funny joke.
It's a good look. So, but that's when they get pulled over by the cops. Like and then they try to get away from somebody and they're like, we're at a stoplight. And Blair says, just run it. And you go, that's all I needed to hear.
Well,
And then
looks
but
like that Polnicek girl's got herself in another jam.
because the cop lights take us into commercial.
Correct, yeah. So, in Blair trying to avoid being seen by somebody, Joe does a U-turn at a red light, and that's when the cop pulls her over. But thank God, when we come back from commercial, we learn that they lied to the cop. And who is our most morally questionable character? Natalie, who apparently faked a pregnancy and that she was in labor.
Did you see the way I bit down on the seatbelt? I will say,
not a fat joke.
No, but I've got to give it to Mindy Cohen because she stole this episode from the back seat. She was able to upstage them by sitting in the back seat. Good for her. Good for her.
No, she was funny. I wish the jokes were funnier that she had to deliver, but she always gives it her all, really. Another thing, at the movie theater when they pass it, Irreconcilable Differences is in one of the cinemas. The other theater is showing All of Me, Steve Martin, Lily Tomlin movie.
Oh, what a wonderful movie that you just don't see. Why isn't that in heavy rotation?
Agreed. It is such a sweet movie. I love that movie. I think we've talked. I need to show it to the kids. Like I think Austin and Justin have not seen it, so we need.
I wish we could find a way to.
If only there were a way to access movies on demand. You know,
bitch, All of Me ain't there. It's one of those movies I check Roku for.
Oh,
it's
do you?
Nowhere.
So, Natalie backseat. Let's talk a little bit more about the music. I think it's very clear they were going for an American Graffiti vibe. They were trying to give us this sense of, the simplicity of youth, the carefree days that these girls are still living to an extent. And that's where all the songs come in. So after they go to this drive-in, and there's this whole thing of, like I said, Blair ruining dinner, which is just offensive to me. They end up running off and not paying their tab. And I'm like, restaurants? I imagine this is just a fucking TV trope where you either leave the restaurant or cut to you having to wash dishes all night. Whoa. It's like restaurants have something in place where it's like, I thought I had money and I don't. Can I give you my name and my phone number? I promise I'll come tomorrow. You know, Blair could leave her fucking credit cards with them. They don't take Diners Club? Well, I'm leaving the card with you as collateral that I promise I'll be back to pay you the cash and give me back my credit card. I mean, there had to have been...
You want me to leave a Diners Club card with a waitress at a walk-up food joint?
The manager. I would ask to speak to the manager.
For a $5 bill? Because that was what I wrote down as one of my the unfortunate tropes I find with TV shows is like, especially around this time period when it's like 75 cents is just so much money to them, or like $3. Like the episode where like when Tootie, the pizza episode, you took my $38 in stock, but it took me all summer to collect that.
Yeah.
$38? It took you, like, why? Like, I don't know why. Anyway.
And they can't scrape together 75 cents. Yeah. It's 1984. This is the period of time in history when you had to walk around with cash if you were ever going to pay for something.
Yeah.
It's like nowadays, sure, that would totally be a plot now where it's like, what do you mean they don't take plastic? Okay, Apple Pay. You don't take Apple. Fuck. Right. What would we do? I never carry cash.
My financial guy, I had to write him a check.
Oh my God.
And I said, I haven't had a checkbook in 10 years. I said, do you want me to send it up on my dinosaur? Because it's not, I had to go and get a fucking money order.
Oh my God.
7-Eleven. At a
7-Eleven. That is crazy. Like, you know, I had a home inspection recently, and you know, it's like he was like, Venmo me the money. Just like send it to him personally. It's just I'm just a one-man band. Just Venmo. Yeah. It's like the cash is becoming so much more sparse.
I can't remember the last time I touched cash.
So,
So when they pull in,
you had something about the drive-in?
yeah, the food thing, the whole food ordering and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They order the usual.
They frequent this dive.
Joe knows Blair's usual.
Oh, I see what you mean. Joe knows her. Oh, okay. Joe can order for her lady.
And when they the order is, and I quote, 2 Phil burgers, 2 Philly chilies, 2 strawberry shakes and a Coke, and an order of fries. 2 strawberry shakes and a Coke.
Okay.
Somebody's not getting a drink unless Joe and Blair are sharing.
Oh. And don't forget the 2 straws.
And when they get the food, they're all crouched down except Joe. So they start passing it back and forth without looking. You just see their hands.
Offensive.
Blair Blair immediately passes her food because her face is in Joe's puss. She is getting her tummy full of some Joe juice.
To quote you, but it is very interesting how it's like, yeah, gee, I see somebody I know. Better put my head down. La la la.
Yeah. I see somebody I know. I don't want them to see me cruising, but they might see me eating your pussy. Maybe it's forward thinking that it's better to be gay in 1984 peak skill than cruising. So they run into Mrs. Garrett.
You read my mind. I was about to say, so who's the star of our show anyway? Mrs. Garrett, Charlotte Rae. She is in the episode.
But I think it was like she filmed her scene in 10 minutes on a day when the girls weren't there, because you do not see them together.
No.
When they do Mrs. Garrett's scene, I don't think she was talking to any of the girls. I think
that could have been done, on a
because the only shot that they do is the guy pulling away, and I think it's blue screen, but you don't see Edna's face. You just see her hand go up and wave.
Yeah.
Like you don't see her face. So it's like weird. But she's there with a guy who owns a gym. His name is Dirk, and he's 100.
And he looks like Cesar Romero's older brother. Yes.
Oh,
Silver Fox. Not unattractive, but
no, but really he owns a gym.
Yeah.
Come on, Edna. What kind of flexibility you got going on? I mean,
she goes to her diet club.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the plot is look, there's Mrs. Garrett. Gee, I didn't imagine we'd find her here. And look at her. She's in the car all alone. Isn't that sad?
Eating a corn dog.
Eating a corn dog. Practicing for later. And then when they like, hi, Mrs. Garrett. Like, hi, Mrs. Garrett. And she's like, oh. And they're like, you having a good time? She's like, yeah, I'm here on a date. I'm getting me some later. From this silver fox, gonna lay the pipe in the fiery bush.
Might even let loose her balloon knot. So they decide they can't pay their bill and they got to pull out here, and they take off. And what better place to hide from the, I'm sure, manhunt that is going on for them? Leaving a college fucking restaurant without paying a bill. That doesn't happen.
No.
So they take off and they hide where else? In a closed gas station.
Yeah. Out in the open. It's it's a darkened closed gas station, and there's a car parked in it with 4 illuminated teenagers.
Totally inconspicuous.
Wow. But with them just chilling and saying, this is them, we're laying low for a while, till the heat blows over, kind of a thing.
And you remember gas stations that closed? Do you remember?
Yeah. Dave? Yes, that is definitely a thing of the past, isn't it? But then we get, I think, one of the loveliest moments. It is on the radio. They start playing "You've Lost That Loving Feeling" by not the Righteous Brothers.
No.
If it's the Righteous Brothers, it's the lesser known Righteous Brothers, Tim and Billy Bob. But Blair has just been brushing her hair like Blair does. And as they're just sort of chilling and the music comes on, they just start singing along and sing along more. And Blair's singing into her hairbrush. And even Joe kind of starts to soften and melt a little bit. And she sings into Blair's hairbrush, if you know what I'm talking about.
But it starts with Joe starts it. And
she does.
Blair's like, oh, we're singing. And looks her through her into her soul when she sings the line, "If you could only love me like you used to do."
Dum, dum, dum,
Looks through Joe into her soul and is basically saying, we're doing it tonight.
It is the leaning in and getting their faces, using the hairbrush as a device to get their faces and their mouths open, as they're singing. Here's my question. This moment goes on for nearly 2 minutes. It's a long, beautiful stretch of breathing room where we don't have to do any jokes. We can just let them be them. And it's so magnificent. Why do we never see it in the opening credits? Or do we? Is it coming up later?
We do. They do add it to the opening credits.
In this season or later?
I don't know, but I do remember seeing it in the credits.
Okay, we'll be watching for it because I don't recall, and I'm looking at it going, this is 2 minutes of footage. You can find 3 seconds that you could stick in to the opening theme so easily compared to some of the other clips they show where you're like, really?
Yeah.
But it is such a beautiful moment. It made my heart sing. Just 4 friends in a car singing their asses off to a song on the radio. And God, the memories.
To this day, when this song, if I ever am listening to the radio or Amazon Music or whatever, and this song comes on, to this day, I still do the don't. If I'm in my car, I'm doing Natalie's don'ts because they're not in the, and I will do the point. Don't.
Matthew is pointing right at me, right at the camera. And Trivial Pursuit, Matthew, who sang backup on that recording of You've Lost That Loving Feeling, the original. Future famous singers.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Sonny and Cher.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. They were all Phil Spector people.
So they're stuck out in the middle of nowhere. It's 4 girls in a car. They just ate 2 Philly chilies. Natalie, she goes, there could be somebody out here in the dark. What if it's... She says, I just think this word is so funny. She goes, what if it's a pervert? A pervert. That word just makes me laugh.
That is funny. What if it's a pervert? Because that is such an overarching concept.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so where we are now is they're like, okay, we've been here, we've lip synced a song for 2 minutes. Clearly, they're not going to be looking for us anymore. We are in the clear with the law.
Right. The manhunt has clearly been called off.
The case has gone cold, thank God. And so they try to leave. And then, then what?
Joe goes to turn on the car and it won't start.
Mm-hmm.
And Blair gets upset. And then Blair points out, don't you have to be in park to get that car? Because we're supposed to believe that Joe turned off an automobile without putting it into park. And has been sitting there in what gear without her foot on the brake
Yeah. I remember my dad, I had, my first car was a station wagon that had been my dad's. When you're not in park and the engine's off, you know from the way the key clicks in the ignition.
Especially, I know. So Joe should know.
Yeah, thank you. If two queer boys...
If two gays who love the facts of life enough to make a podcast about it, no, Joe on the Facts of Life show.
But they do think the initial diagnosis is, well, we ran down the battery because we sat here singing. We had the car on for 2 minutes, lip syncing that song. Holy shit.
Yeah. With the light on, the overhead light on.
But they are able to drive away. Thank God. Joe is just temporarily stupid.
They pull off into the back lot of Universal Studios. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then they say, what time is it? And someone says, midnight.
Yeah.
How long have they been? It's like, really?
It was a night. It was a
Saturday night, I guess.
Yeah. What else were you going to do?
I guess. But then Blair now, after all that she's been through, one of her final lines is, I have to admit, I was kind of hoping to meet someone special.
Yeah.
And that is completely inconsistent with everything else she's been doing.
Did they really meet people like Cruisin?
Again, I don't know. It's completely foreign to me. But then that is literally a line they just put in there so that Joe could respond with, yeah. At which point they're all like, oh, there's a story here.
Horny Natalie wants to hear this story.
Oh, yeah.
She's like thinking it's going to be like a Penthouse Letters kind of thing.
I never thought I'd be writing before, and I never imagined something like this would ever happen to me.
Penthouse Forum. Isn't that what it was called?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Damn it.
And then she walked up to me in the subway and asked if I had anything that I could rub on her tits.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Yeah.
That happens? Okay. But Joe admits that in the Bronx, there was a guy in a Trans Am. At some point in the past, we have no idea when. They circled each other for 3 hours. Then a Winnebago got between them and she lost them.
Yeah.
And they never, ever connected again. And that's literally the end of the story.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's depressing. And I want to kill myself now.
There was no possible way she could have, found him when a Winnebago got between them. There's no possible way in the Bronx.
Yeah.
For her to have found him ever again.
Yeah. Never went cruising again in the Bronx. This guy never came back. Okay, fine. We'll go with that. But for some reason, that's like the sort of, as the episode is winding down. And then it's like, well, I'm tired. Let's go home. Yeah. You want to make one more lap? Yeah. Okay. That's fine. And then how do we end? What's the big, chipper, happy, uplifting ending, Matthew?
Oh, my God. The guy, the radio announcer, again, this would never have happened. Never in the history of radio DJs with call-in shows had they ever said, I'd like to give a shout out to this person who's been trying all night, Tootie Ramsey. And she screams. Yeah. What? I get it, but why not? I don't know.
She does say earlier that she's making a name for herself. Like every time they pull over and she calls in, the DJ's like, nope, you're not it, but keep on trying. You're really, I admire your spirit or your spunk or something like that. Of course, the big thing is like, you don't tell them your name. It's like, hi, I'm Tootie Ramsey. Am I the fifth caller?
Maybe she did.
Maybe,
I can totally hear.
She fucking would, yeah.
I can totally hear it.
But the last thing is he dedicates the song, and it is Dancing Queen by not ABBA.
By Lisa Whelchel.
Let's go with it. I think it's great.
I promise you, and you listen to it and think that it's Lisa Whelchel, you'll hear it.
I will. Okay, well, that's our homework for the post homework after the episode. Yeah, and that's where the episode ends.
Ta-da!
My only other note was just pointing out that due to this being so technically different than anything we have seen before, I wonder if Boab was brought in as a new director because it was different, or if it just happened to fall, like they hired him and went, oh, well, this is the script we're producing this week. Because what a weird introductory episode for him to do, in that it is like nothing that precedes it and nothing that will follow.
Yeah.
And the other thing I will say is it couldn't have been easy, because they clearly had multiple cameras on whatever the rig was that was pulling the car. But in order to get Natalie and Tootie in the back seat, there were very close-ups. Like there was the visual rhetoric, as it were. All of the girls, when they had a single shot, there weren't no head and shoulders. It was just head. Yeah. And for that, and I mean, and they're all gorgeous. They're all young. They all have amazing skin. It worked out totally fine. But it was fascinating to be getting this up close and personal with them.
Yeah.
Almost felt you almost felt the sort of claustrophobic air of being in a car with them, Matthew, wouldn't you say?
I think so. A car that did not steal any scenes because it was brown and it was a Cadillac.
Maybe it's because all the exterior shots were literally just, if you see a generic car, just the standard boxy car shape, nothing unique about a silhouette, film it. We're going to use it as B-roll. That could be what the fuck they did.
I think that's exactly what they did.
Yes. All right, Matthew.
Lovely. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Another one. Boom. Dropping the mic, but don't drop the mic because it's expensive. Yes. So we've got some more. We still need to, at some point, record our TV Talkaholic episode for the Patreon before the end of the month. We have some time, but we have to be thinking about what's our New Year's selection going to be. Be giving it some thought. And well, Sweet Pea, parting is such sweet sorrow.
But there is a sweetness to it, isn't there?
Is there?
Yeah.
For you? Okay.
No,
wow.
I thought you seemed like, okay, ready to go. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, until next time.
What? I love you.
Huh?
What?
So, Matthew, darling, until next time, happy holidays, and I love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye. And there you have it. That was Matthew Arder. Few little post-show points to be made. Multiple things here, actually. First of all, the version of Sugar Pie Honey Bunch at the beginning of the show, Matthew was right. That was a karaoke version. There was no vocal being played over the radio track. So Natalie and Tootie and the girls were all just singing along like they were at a karaoke bar. Crazy. Secondly, his question about the dimes. I did go back and check the full-length episode. Yes, it is true. Tootie did not have a dime earlier, and then later at the drive-in diner, Natalie does say, going through Tootie's stuff, she only has 7 dimes. The only thing I could do to maybe give Paul Haggis the benefit of the doubt, and you know I'm not particularly keen to do that, Tootie does say that she had to ask a bum for change earlier, meaning she did not have a dime, and was grossed out because the bum went into his shoe to make her the change, yada, yada. But I guess it's possible the bum gave her, let's not use the word bum, the homeless person gave her 10 dimes for $1. So she may have used 3 of them to make the phone calls, with 7 remaining in her purse when Natalie goes in there. That could be the thing. That's an awful lot of thinking for an awfully tiny, tiny little plot point. And you know, I don't usually like to do that. Lastly, Dancing Queen at the end of the show does sound like Lisa Whelchel. In fact, I'm going to share it with you right now. Have a listen to this. Huh? Yeah? Don't you agree? I'm with Matthew. I think they grabbed Lisa and said, hey, you want to sing? And she's like, fuck yeah, I want to sing. So they laid her down on the vocal track. Let's just make that a rumor that eventually becomes true, because I love it. So those were the only additional points for the show. The only other thing is, it is the Christmas season. It's coming up in just a week and a half at this point. And you know what I want for Christmas? You know, all would make me happy for Christmas? If you're listening right now and you haven't gone to iTunes and left a review and rated the show, I would so appreciate it. Every podcast begs people to do that, and it does help. It really legitimately does help us and help other listeners to find my show. So if you could, if you haven't yet, I would so appreciate it, and thank you very deeply. Now, next week, my special guest is going to be a returning guest, actor, singer, theater tech, amazing cook and baker, and he also happens to be my roommate, Justin Schneyer. He and I are going to be watching Season 6, Episode 6, Taking a Chance on Love, Part 1. And you can watch the show ahead of time for free at dailymotion.com. I'll post a link in the show notes and on this episode's webpage. That's all for now. Thank you so much for listening to this week's show. And remember, the facts of life are all about you. Let's Face the Facts was created, produced, written, hosted, and edited by me, David Almeida. My theme song was beautifully arranged and recorded by Ned Wilkinson. Visit my website, facethefactspod.com, for supplemental photos and videos, audio extras from the digital cutting room floor, links to my social media, and ways that you can support the show financially. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast platform. Tune in again next week for another thrilling episode of Let's Face the Facts.